bathroom intermission. Was there any? I'll let Ty Warner in. Does anybody know him?
Charles, I guess there was a little bit of a follow-up on my earlier question. And that was, so last time we programmed in buckets, and then the surplus shifted down to the next program category. And if I recall correctly, we did it year by year rather than program. You know, we did the current year, went through it by program, and then we jumped to the next year by program. That was my recollection. I'm not saying that that was better than what you're proposing, but what we did was we rolled down the surplus amount to the next program category. Just wondering how NERC sees that and this group feels about that same process.
What I didn't do is I didn't roll anything down. You can see if you're looking at my screen, you can see, for instance, this is a Crown Point project in 2025, and if you notice what everybody asked for instance, this project in Crown Point asked for $2.3 million. Well, in 2025, using a inflation calculator, it's 2.5 million. In 2026 is 2.6 million. So, and that's how I worked in everybody's request. Because if you remember, you were supposed to give me your request in $2021. And I believe that's what everyone did, or at least the estimates that I looked at showed it in $2021. So that's why we have this column here. Funding request for 2025 and funding request for 2026. So,
thank you.
What I didn't do was the remaining funds, I didn't program at all. Okay. And some folks I only programmed to a certain, for instance, and this is a good example right here, Crown Point. It would have been $2.5 million, but they only got $2 million because there was only $2 million in the pot. There's a couple different things going on here. One, we don't have a transportation bill, and I am going to be optimistic and say that by 2025 we'll have a transportation bill. And so those funds, the funds we receive, probably will change. Hopefully they'll change upwards. And if they do, then we can fund, in this case, we could fund Crown Point to their full amount. And also, as we all know, I always find coins in the couch cushions. So just because they didn't get this amount doesn't mean that, it means for right now that they will only get, for right now, they're only getting this amount, but they could get more later on.
Charles?
Yes.
Couple questions. One, Beth was on representing transit, so she'll be here shortly. They weren't called in the roll earlier, I think, transit.
Okay, we did not call the roll, or did not call any transit in the roll, actually.
Yep. Second, so what you're talking about is your 20, just to be to clarify, this is going to be the 22 to 26 tip?
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, Beth called me in between. She's on the road. She should be here shortly, but obviously our project is down there. You moved it out of the transit funding because, you know, we have a TOD bent to it.
Yes.
And you now had us competing with the STBG. That was something we discussed with you and the other planners at NERC in our pre-proposal meeting. I thought we gotta, you know, it's kind of an interesting way. We wouldn't overburden the funding on the roadside, but also use the transit. Can you explain to Beth and I how you kind of deviated from that?
Well, actually, Beth put it in twice.
Yeah.
She put it in for STBG funding, and also she put it in for 5307 funding. If I can get the 5307 funding, I will. I'm definitely looking at that option, but I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure the project, being it scored so high, being the project was awarded.
I think that's though the reason we submitted the two proposals, like we discussed with you and the other NERC team, because we felt it did cross the boundaries and could be funded from multiple pots of money.
Yes, it can. And I'll probably will be looking at funding different pots of money for projects. But again, I didn't want to, I'm still investigating how to use 5307 funding for this. And if I can, I will definitely shift this over to 5307 because that will give us more funding in the roadway side. So again, it scored really good, so I didn't want to just assume that I could do that. I wanted to make sure that being the project scored high, it was awarded.
So when do you think you might have a determination on that? After we make the decision on next month at the TPC or
Sometime, well, I have several different options. One, the whole tip has to be submitted to NDOT on February 12th for a draft, and then on March 1st it will go out for public comment. So we have got plenty of time to shift these funds around. As I mentioned, Next Level Trails there's been talk with Next Level Trails coming out and awarding projects. This could affect it. Crown Point was awarded, and they were also one of the projects in Next Level Trails. So that could free up a project. You know, that would free up $2 million more. If I used 5307, this would free up another $2 million, so we could get 2 more trails in here. But right now I can't assume, because like I said, we have egg on our face.
Understood. So would it still qualify as a mix of funds if that's doable? Let's say 5307 can't fund the entire thing. It could still hold its place for the balance in the STBG. I put it in STBG just so it could get into the tip. Right. But I mean, you would consider doing a split funding?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And yes. Any other questions on multi-use paths? And again, if anyone has any questions, they are more than welcome to, or concerns or comments, they're more than welcome to bring this up at the TPC meeting on February 9th. Okay. Moving on to the next one was complete streets. There was one project Um, and this was in Cedar Lake.
Yes, Cedar Lake.
Yes, there were two different phases on this project. I awarded them one phase. In complete streets, there was a total of, I think, $1.7 million. And that's what I gave them. Actually, the sidewalks in complete streets was available at 370. But if you looked at all the funding in complete streets, it came up to 1.7, something like that. So I awarded them their funding. You can see that in 2023, we had some extra funds. In 2023, we had SDBG and HSIP funds available. In 2024, we have CMAC and HSIP funds available. So in awarding any projects in 2023 and 2024, I tried to stay within, as far as awarding any PE or right-of-way, I tried to stay within those categories to use up those funds. And again, this could create a new legacy project. Could. This is broken down into two different phases, an east and a west. The west side does have some railroad on it, does have a railroad crossing on it. I am concerned that that railroad crossing might not get done prior to 2025. I did talk with Don about this, and I did look at just funding the east side, and while this town works on the railroad crossing for the time being, so that can be a little more solidified. Moving down, air quality. This is NERC's $360,000 a year is what we have. Available funding, I put that in there. That's for South Shore Clean Cities, our air quality education, that's CMAC funding. So next one down is planning. This one is the road safety audits. And what I programmed in was the request that NERC had placed for $77,500 for doing road safety audits every year, starting in 2023 or maybe earlier. So that's what that is. I did not program this because this is 5307 funding. This is for that's Valpo's project. So that's in there. If I can shift that from STBG or TA to 5307, I will. But I wanted to make sure that project was in the tip, got into the tip. Quality of place is the next one. And there were two projects. One was Cherryville's project for phase 3 from Oak to Main Street. And that was recommended by the STC Surface Transportation Committee. So that was awarded in 2025, or I shouldn't say it was awarded. I'm saying I show it recommending for awarding in 2025. The other project is a legacy project. It is Lake Stations project, which was a roundabout at the beginning, and this is a 11 DES number. So I've given those funds to them in 2026. I'm showing that. Are there any comments so far? Moving on to the next one is road and bridge improvements. Again, we're looking at, I've created some legacy projects throughout this whole spreadsheet, and other ones I've awarded. I'm looking at East Chicago scored the highest, I think, of any project. Was a 78. This is $6.3 million. I showed them awarding the entire project in 2026. Again, if someone would like to, this is just a beginning point. So I have funding for PE for Griffith. It scored for theirs in 2023. That creates a legacy project for them in out years. Moving down, Hammond Summer Street, which is a legacy project. I'm not sure about that one. It looks like there's a mistake here. I don't know why that number is different. I will mark that one up. Lake County Bridge was in its category was the only category for bridges. $836,000 in 2025. Maryville's Mississippi and 69th was awarded $100,000 in 2020, or I'm suggesting awarding PE in 2024. Again, this is all up for discussion. Mississippi and 79th, I have the full funding in 2026. In Munster's project, Main Street, giving them PE in 2023 and awarding the funds in 2025. Valparaiso, awarding them PE in 2023. That would create a legacy project. And then taking care of the other legacy project on Lincoln Way in Campbell is the roundabout. So that's what I've got so far.
Charles, would you slow down back on Valparaiso? Was there one project that was ranked higher than another? project? I couldn't keep up. Your first funding, Campbell, Lincoln Way and Campbell Roundabout, is that right? Is that?
Yes,
Okay. So that's the first of the two Valpo projects.
yes,
And the second one would be 130 at County Road 400 North.
yes. And that's just giving them PE for that project.
PE in what year?
2023.
2023. And the funding for the roundabout was in
2025.
2025. Okay, thank you.
Lastly, under new roadways, following along with STCs is the Porter County Willow Creek Road in 2026. Any comments?
Charles, Dwayne Oversight, County Highway.
Yes.
On the bridge, Clay Street over Deep River, the 136,000. That's partial funding for that project. If additional funds become available in 2025, can they be awarded to that project?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Correct. When I submit my tip, I have to show that I'm fully constrained. So, and this is an example, just like the Crown Point that I was talking about earlier. Both of you had requested additional funds, but this is all that I could spare to show that we were a balanced spreadsheet.
Okay.
And yes, I'm expecting more funds. And definitely, there's a lot of large projects on here, and larger projects tend to get very competitive bidding. So I'm hopeful that in addition to the new transportation bill and these larger projects, that there could be some additional funding in.
All right. Thank you very much.
Question, Charles?
Yes,
I'm to assume then that Kennedy Phase 2 or Phase 3 and Phase 4 are going to be in out years beyond 26 then?
no, just phase 4.
And Phase 3?
Phase 3 is in 2025, I believe.
Well, we just did Phase 2 in 2025 as well, or 2026. No, 2025. I mean, that's not a big deal. Both phases could be done at once if the money's there. But I just want to make sure I'm clear on where we sit.
So I show phase 3 in 2025.
Okay. And then Phase 2 also in 2025.
No, phase 2 is in 2020.
Seems to be in
2024.
24, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, you'll have 124, 125. And that should set you up, that should set Cherryville up for a phase in 2027 or 2028.
And that'll be the big phase that ties us to 30. Thank you.
Yes. And I think
Good
you
news.
had requested that to go in that order.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I hate to say it, Charles, but I think you gave me everything we asked for. I'm smiling.
yeah, you only had 2 projects in there. Well, you got 2 and you got 1 of them, so.
Okay, good.
I will definitely send this list of projects out to everyone on T-Rock. This is what I am going to send to give to the TPC. And if anybody has any comments, you can either contact me or anybody at NERC, as well as bring it up at the TPC meeting in a couple weeks.
Which will be February 9th,
Yes, February 9th.
10 a.m.
Okay. I will also send out the latest spending plan. I have one more change I got to make today. I have one more change I have to make today, and then I will send that out. But it's, if anybody has any requests for 2020 outside of Dwayne Alverson, Dwayne, I know where you sit, so, and we discussed this, so I will take any recommendations. There's 2020, 2022, we're even. And then you can see in 2023 and 2024, we have a fair amount of funding available. But I'd use that in awarding, bringing some projects forward. There were a couple legacy projects that we brought forward. Hobart had requested funding for Colorado Street. That's going to be in 22. So I brought that out of the NOFA. They also have some LPG dump trucks, I believe, or garbage trucks that were in 2024. I brought that forward. The city of Gary had 15th Avenue that they applied for in the NOFA. I was able to put that one in 2024. So I was able to move some things around. Like I said, I had a project in 2022 that couldn't go, so I moved that money. As we see here, I moved that money. I loaned it to NDOT. NDOT will give it to us in 2024. So,
Charles, Dean Button again.
yes,
When you do send out the projects for consideration, would you kindly just note the ones on the list that you're making a recommendation to move forward, so that we're all clear? Like, what notes I have are accurate?
yeah, I can do that. However, I think you're going to find that the last 4 of the last 5 columns are funding years in 23, 24, 25, and 26. And if there's a dollar amount in there, that's what I'm recommending that project gets for that year. Okay.
Okay, well, the file I pulled down didn't have the calendarization of spending, the one that was published on the website. So,
Right. And that's why I'm going to send it out to everybody,
yeah,
because
So-
what's on the website, I was still working on this last week after I had put out, after I had to get all the meeting notes. So And there's also comments on there as far as a new legacy project or, so, and I do have to correct, there's one project I do need to correct. So this one right here belonging to the city of Hammond. I have to, so Dean, I have to work on that one. But I will get that one out today
Yeah,
or tomorrow, actually, because I have another T-Rock meeting this afternoon. So I'll get that out today or tomorrow.
I didn't mean for that to be a criticism, Charles. I just wanted some clarification. Thank you.
Right, and I get that. I get that. Like I said, I had to get the meeting notes out to everybody last week, a week in advance, and I still hadn't gone through and figured out how I wanted how I thought the dice would fall. So now this is what I'm putting forward. So, and again, if anybody has any comments, please contact me. You got any accolades, that's fine. Any gripes, that's fine too. Let me, or if you want to bring them straight to the TPC, you're welcome to do that too. I'll probably have a more fuller picture for TPC, like a new spending plan or something like that.
Charles, I just
So-
wanted to interject. I was having trouble unmuting myself earlier when we were talking about multi-use trails. But just wanted to make sure that, so our project for the trail that was in 2 different categories, our priority is kind of getting it in sooner than later, and just we wanted to provide maximum flexibility in terms of spreading out between funding pots, and then also shifting forward so that we adjust the amount or timing for PE. So as you look at that, just keep in mind that we're kind of, our priority is sooner rather than more funding. So we just want to make sure that that's understood. That's all.
Okay. And I know, Beth, you weren't here when I was talking, but I wanted to make sure that it got into the tip because it did so well.
Yes, I heard that.
And not assuming that it was coming from one pot or the other. So I didn't want to assume that it was going to come from one pot and then it not make it into the tip. So if it didn't get that pot of funding. So moving on. Screen. So there's a action requested I have down here is approval for the NOFA. Is there a motion or do everybody wants to, is there some discussion on getting approval?
Charles, I know that I'm going to be making some comments back to you on project selection. So
Okay,
I'm not prepared
okay,
to vote for approval at this stage.
okay.
Certainly, if the group would like to, I'll watch.
It sounds like everybody wants to see what, it sounds like there's more comments coming from anybody or more than just you, Dean. So we will table that and I will send this to everybody and then also, and then discussion can be had at TPC. Then moving on to new business, local quarterly meetings are going to be Thursday, February 4th, Wednesday, February 10th, and Thursday, February 11th. I've contacted everybody and everybody has a schedule. I think there was a schedule attached to the meeting notes. If anyone has an issue or can't make that meeting time, let me know. We will work something out. Okay. It looks like these quarterly meetings tend to go pretty quick. Especially when we're doing them virtually. So I've set everybody up for either 10 to 20 minutes max. 20 minutes is a max for someone who's got a lot of projects. I think the average is 15 minutes. So just make sure that I just ask that everybody make sure that they are on a little bit early in case we're running ahead of time. Is there any other new business? Okay, then our next regularly scheduled T-Rock meeting will be on April 27th at 9 a.m.
Charles, question?
Yes.
Being that we didn't make a decision as a group today and you're going to be accepting comment, then how do we get a agreement amongst the committee members to move this on to TPC? I may have missed that. I apologize.
Well, it sounds like there isn't an agreement to move it on because there's just too many comments or too many questions.
So this will not be at the TPC agenda on the 9th then, is what you're saying?
There will not be a note in there that T-Rock is recommending.
So
I will share this list with TPC.
Okay.
And I will also share all the comments that I receive. So I will get this out. Actually, I will get this out today because TPC's agenda's got to be out on the 2nd. So I will get this out today. And that way any comments can be in the TPC packet. If you don't, that's fine. I will make sure that the TPC does get your comments. If there's no other business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Second.
AJ has moved to adjourn, and was that Dean that seconded?
I think George seconded.
George? Okay. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Nays? Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, thank you.